Hello, my fellow comic book collectors. Today it's another edition of the Price Variance. And today's theme is going to be sci-fi. So I'm joined with Mark Ulroyd, and we're going to be talking about sci-fi comics. I definitely recommend, if you haven't subscribed already, subscribe to Mark's channel. It's a really great channel. He talks about a lot of stuff. He's been doing these comic book reviews that are really great. Actually, I just watched his Shadecraft one. I haven't commented on it, but I did watch it, and I thought it was really great. I like his scoring system, so you got to check out his stuff. Yeah, we'll get started with sci-fi. So, Mark, I'll get you to show your first.
Right. Okay. So I've been a big sci-fi fan. It's been a bit difficult narrowing down my choices for this. But actually, when I got seriously back into comic collecting about a year ago, I got some comics out of my attic. Had been sat there for 25 years, and I was going through them, and I found this one. I've no idea where I bought it, but the cover I just loved, and it's this one here. It's Flash Gordon, number 9 from King Comics, and that is that artwork. Do you know the artist? It's a guy called. It's the guy who originally did Flash Gordon for the the newspaper strips.
Newspapers, yeah.
Called Alex Raymond.
Okay.
And he died quite young, actually. He died in his 40s, but he was a fairly prolific artist, and he was the artist that created Flash Gordon. And this is actually Alex Raymond artwork. Now, of course, having seen this, I decided I have to get all of them, of course.
Of course.
But there's not that many of them. This ran from, I think it was from something like 65 to 69, something like that, 1965, 1969, by King Comics. So then I then picked up the first issue, and I got it, and it's a slab. So this was the first issue of the King Comics Flash Gordon. Now, this is a different artist, but also a very worked quite a lot on Flash Gordon. You'll probably know this. This is an artist called Al Williamson, who did quite a lot of work in comics. And these are the two main artists who worked on the comic Flash Gordon. Of course, Flash Gordon was a newspaper strip for years and years and years. It ran for something like 70 years with lots of different artists, of course. And of course, there was a number of films of Flash Gordon. There were 3 Flash Gordon films in, I think, the late 30s with the Olympic swimmer Buster Crabbe played Flash Gordon.
Yep. Actually, I watched those.
Have you? I haven't actually watched them. Are they any good?
Yeah, they were interesting. Very cheesy, yeah.
And then, of course, there was the great movie in 1980.
That's awesome. Queen soundtrack. I loved it. Yeah.
Brilliant. One of my favorite movies, that. Anyway, so then, and also he moved, once that was over, he's actually also, DC did a series of Flash Gordon. And also Marvel did Flash Gordon as well. So that was Marvel Flash Gordon number 1. Nice. And again, that's Al Williamson artwork on that one. So that's my first sci-fi pick. Is Flash Gordon is naturally now owned by Dynamite.
They bought a lot of cool series. They're actually a very aggressive company. I like Dynamite.
They've done a few Flash Gordon series while they've owned him. Nothing hasn't really taken off because Dynamite really works best with scantily clad women.
Yeah. But Flash Gordon could have that if you kind of sexify a few of the characters.
Well, Dale Arden, for instance, is quite sexy. Alex Raymond portrayed her was actually quite sexy. So yeah, you could do some of that. So that's my first pick, Flash Gordon. Been around for a long time. He's had a TV. There was actually a Flash Gordon TV series, which I've never seen. And there was also a Flash Gordon cartoon series as well. So he's been on virtually.
Yeah, I haven't seen that.
I haven't seen it either, but there was one. So he's been in every form of media you can imagine.
Yeah.
So that's my.
So, it's funny that the one that King comic one,
Yeah.
It might have been me that like if you won that on an auction,
Yeah.
I was bidding on that one.
Oh, on the slab.
Yeah.
Oh, were you? When did I get that?
I think that was the one I lost out. I lost out on it.
I bought it probably January or February or March this year. Quite, yeah.
Yeah, that was probably me you're bidding against.
Was
That's funny. That's funny because I was trying to get that one actually. So that's kind of funny. But yeah, I lost out on that.
For?
I'm not sure. I remember it was like a slabbed Flash Gordon #1. Actually, I tried on a couple places. I tried on eBay and on Heritage. I lost both times. So I'm not sure.
Yeah, mine was eBay. Yeah.
Yeah. So you were one of the people that beat me out. So I lose out on certain comics. I was trying to get that one. I was like, everyone just keep on beating me out. I was like sort of annoyed. So it's kind of funny that you have it though.
And the Flash Gordon comics are really affordable. They're nothing.
Yeah. They're not expensive.
Not expensive.
Yeah. So I always base my bidding on that, like where I don't go too extreme where I'm gonna like, way overpay.
Yeah.
Because I if you're patient, it'll come back.
Yeah, exactly. There'll be another one out there. And
yeah.
There's no point overpaying. It's like what I do in auctions. I always set my limit.
Yeah.
Like if it goes for more than that, it goes for more than that. I'll wait until another one comes along.
Yeah. Actually, I've seen it where what happened was there was one where I really wanted it. I was like, I'm never going to see it again. FOMO hit in, all that kind of experience. And I bid. And the other guy was the same way probably. And he outbid me at the end, right? I just was like, okay, this is just too crazy. We're double the price. We've ruined the market. So after that, all the eBay listings, all like everywhere else, just like they increased the prices. So I was like, I'm not going to make that mistake again, where I basically caused every comic from that day point forward to go up in value, right? That I want.
So you're not responsible for the 3.6 million that was just paid for a 9.
No.
Amazing fantasy.
I think that was actually a dumb buy personally. Like I don't think that book deserves that money.
Well,
I really don't.
It's just comic book now, isn't it? That's the most expensive.
Yeah, that's the highest in record. 3.6 million. That's like just it's stupid because it's not that rare of a book, compared to Action Comics #1 or Batman Detective 27. Those books are really rare.
Yes.
So, and there's others that are actually higher grade than the one that sold. So it was a 9.6 and there's a 9.8 out there. So what does that mean? Like, it's just a bit silly.
How many? I think there's only 1 or 2 9.8s though, isn't there?
It's 1 9.8 and I think there's 3 9.6s.
Yeah.
So, it kind of doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
Whereas like, okay, but people, if you have 3.6 million, you can do that kind of silly stuff, right?
Yeah, some hedge fund manager somewhere has got a nice copy of Spider-Man.
Yeah, exactly. So I'm going to show what I was telling you about before we started this video.
Okay.
So I love history. If you watch my videos, you notice that I really get into history. So I'm going to show you some girly books. So the first one is After Hours #1.
Oh, that's really nice.
And, yeah, so this is like, kind of
how science fiction is this, Alan?
Very science fiction-y. It has like scantily clad women. And it's actually a ripoff of Playboy. So this came out soon after Playboy. I think this is 1957. I think Playboy was like 56 or somewhere around there. Like, yeah. So it was basically what happened was the guy that created this wanted to make money. He just wanted to make money. And he was friends with another guy. His name was James Warren. And the other guy's name was Forrest J. Ackerman. And Forrest J. Ackerman, his background was he had a whole collection of movie stills. He had like the largest collection of movie stills. He had an original King Kong poster. And he was most famous for having a huge sci-fi collection. And he actually was the one known for coining the term sci-fi.
Oh,
So
okay. Right.
he was a writer as well. He coined the term sci-fi, and he would do like a lot of the foreword for a lot of the pulps that would, the original pulps with sci-fi. So then I'm going to show you After Hours number 2.
Very nice.
Okay.
It's a strange
He-
shape, isn't it? It almost looks like an LP album.
Yeah, I know, it's kind of weird. And then, so the key is, this is number 3. This is actually a pretty cheap one. These are all like, and then there's After Hours number 4. This is the key. This is the one that everyone wants. And the reason they want this one is, the influence of Forrest J. Ackerman was really felt in this book, because what happened was, basically there's a section in here all about monsters and sci-fi stuff. So it's like, and people, they didn't really care about the way that they did the girls wasn't really that exciting, but the way that they did the horror and sci-fi was very exciting. So what happened was people were like buying this issue up. They were like, this was like highly sought after. And they decided, hey, I guess people like the horror stuff more than they like the girly stuff. So let's make a horror magazine. And the horror magazine that they made was this one, Famous Monsters of Filmland. And it is actually a very important historical magazine, because it was where like you get like George Lucas, Spielberg, they got their career from this magazine. This is what inspired them to really get into making movies and doing all this stuff. They actually, there's in some of the magazines, they actually wrote to the magazine and said, "Oh, we love you. I love your magazine. You have inspired me to." Yeah. So these are kind of major within Hollywood, and in terms of having a major influence on producing sci-fi and
interesting.
So yeah.
Just while we're on that subject, another interesting fact about Flash Gordon. So
okay.
When I was researching Flash Gordon, I found this website, and apparently in the early 70s, the film rights to Flash Gordon were owned by Dino De Laurentiis.
Okay.
He actually turned down offers from 2 people to buy the film rights to Flash Gordon. One was Federico Fellini, and the other was George Lucas. George Lucas didn't get the rights to Flash Gordon and went on to make Star Wars.
Yeah. So in a way, that's a good thing.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, no, if he had got the rights to Flash Gordon, we might never have got Star Wars.
Yeah, it probably would have been that Star Wars would have been Flash Gordon. Like, there's a lot of similar elements to the two, right? Yeah. And probably George Lucas was like, okay, if you can't give me the rights, I'll make my own thing that's just as good, So yeah. So I actually, it's good that he didn't get the rights. So
no, I think it's a good thing.
Yeah,
you have a what if universe. What if George Lucas had got the rights?
Didn't get the rights. So yeah. So what's your second one?
Science fiction.
Yep.
Right. Okay. So this is I've got 2 Alan Class comics here.
Okay.
Alan Class was the UK guy who got the rights to reprint a load of American comics in the UK.
Yeah.
And he had a science fiction. Most of his was sort of like suspense and thriller type stuff, but he did have a title, which was a science fiction title called Weird Planets.
Oh, wow.
So this is Weird Planets number 1. And so this is reproduces, it reproduces in full the Tales of the Mysterious Traveller number 6 from Charlton Comics, artwork by Steve Ditko. So this is a character called the Mysterious Traveller. I don't know if you've ever heard of him. He did have a radio series in the States. It's sort of like introducing, he's like the narrator introducing. It's a bit like, the Phantom Stranger, and he sort of introduces tales of mystery and science fiction. And so if we look in the first bit of this, you can see, here we go. He's there on the first page introducing the story.
He actually looks like Phantom Stranger a bit.
He does,
just the hat.
Yeah, well, that is Steve Ditko artwork. And this thing is full of Steve Ditko artwork, Stanley's. There are 10 stories in here. The backstory is actually unusual for Alan Class. The back page has actually got the last panel of the last story. and
Oh,
that is
wow.
actually Jack Kirby art. So on the front, you've got Steve Ditko art, and then on the back, you've got Jack Kirby art.
So, wow, two major artists in
Yeah,
that magazine or comic.
and one of the stories in here, yeah, the gorilla from outer space. You can see just along the side of the panel there, it says Stan Lee and Steve Ditko. So
Wow.
that stories by
So
Stan.
lots of big artists in there.
Yeah.
And writers. Yeah.
Yeah. And so that is reproducing that. And so this actually reproduces the whole of Tales of the Mysterious Traveller 6, but it also has stories in it from Tales of Suspense 27 and 35. So the next, I'm just going to show another, that was issue 2 of Weird Planets. With Alan Class, you have to be able to be a detective to work out what it is, because he hasn't printed the issue number or the year on there. But I know, I know that's issue 2, and I know it was about 1962.
Okay.
So the next issue is issue 3, and this is that is Jack Kirby.
Oh, that's actually amazing fantasy, like number 14 homage, maybe, isn't it?
It's actually the cover of Tales of Suspense 35.
Tales of Suspense, yes. Yeah, so sorry, yeah, I knew it was the one before some major character came out, because I've seen that cover before.
Yeah, it's Tales of Suspense 35. This isn't Tales of Suspense 35 is an expensive comic. Even in mid-grade, you're going to pay $3,000. This was produced almost simultaneously. So this,
oh wow,
Tales of Suspense 35 was 62. And this was, Stan Lee, Steve Ditko, Jack Kirby, and this was produced probably only 3 or 4 months after the US edition came out.
Wow.
So these, and you can see it's a shilling copy, so it was produced pre-decimalisation, but I know this is 1962, maybe early 63. So it's really good, I think, to pick up some of these reprints, because you can pick that up. Well, you could pick that up for about £5. These
oh wow, that's really cheap considering.
Really, I mean, considering the year in this sort of condition, the Tales of Suspense 35 would cost you about $2,000.
I thought, like, looking at it, I would have thought it was like a more recent copy. You know what I mean? Like, it looks like.
No, it looks in very good
like
condition.
modern.
Yeah, it does. No, this is pretty contemporaneous with the US issue. So
that's like 62 range.
Yeah,
like,
62, around 62, maybe early 63. Yeah.
Okay.
And this one's in very nice condition.
Very interesting. I wasn't familiar with that one. So yeah, that's cool.
No, so and again, both of these contain 7 or 8 different stories in them. So it's sort of like anthology of science fiction stories.
Okay, so that's a great second pick. So okay, so I'm going to show you my okay, I have 2 for your channel actually that actually are pretty obvious. Obvious.
Okay.
What I want to do is I'm going to show you one of my specs.
All right, yeah.
And my second one. Okay, so I want to show you my spec and my next one. I think you mentioned this one before, I believe.
Yes, that was I think that was one of my specs the last episode, or I've had it. Yeah, so I definitely put it on my spec list.
Yeah, so this one, what I want to show is all the Rocketeer ones. So basically, I've been picking up all the Rocketeer. So these are all the different ones.
Nice. Yeah.
But even more importantly, my spec isn't the Rocketeer. Okay, so these are all Rocketeer. Okay.
I'm just going to show you the book I bought for spec.
Oh, okay. So this is
book.
That's a great book. Okay, I like that book for some reason. Okay, so
that's quite a lot earlier than the Rocketeer 1. So
yeah,
that's 83, and I think the Rocketeer 1's
this is 82, I believe.
82, yeah. Sorry, and Rocketeer's 86, I think, or 88 even.
Yeah. So that's early one, and then I brought this.
Oh, that's nice.
And so you're probably wondering, okay, what the heck is this spec after all that, right? So my spec is okay. Not this book in particular, but all of these have a common theme. All the ones I just kind of flashed by, they all have the same artist, and my spec is the artist, not the comic, but the artist.
Yeah, no, good.
So what I think will happen is when people get into the Rocketeer, they'll be like, "Gee, this artist is pretty awesome. He does some really cool stuff," and I think people will start liking the artist, and the artist is Dave Stevens, and he's really known for kind of these sexy girls, sexy.
Right. This is all a bit spooky. Because would you like to see what one of the things that I bought?
Oh, you brought your Alien Worlds. I actually have that as well. Like, you know, but I didn't bring it to show today. But that's a good choice. So Dave Stevens is my spec.
Yeah, good choice.
So I would. I'm actually in the process because I'm crazy this way. I'm trying to get everything that Dave Stevens ever put a cover on, like whatever his covers are. I found so far a list of 74 covers.
Okay, so that's collectible, isn't it? That's a reasonable. It's
a pretty big collection. He died in 2012, I believe.
He was quite young.
Somewhere around.
He was in his.
He was 52.
52.
Yeah, 52. Yeah. So you know, he had a pretty big body of work. I found like there's I think 74 covers. So far I have almost all of them. Oh. I'm missing like about I'm missing about like 8 covers. So I've been picking them up really like, you know, going hard at it. So
have you got any of his Betty Page stuff?
Yes, I picked up those. Actually, if you look at my Instagram, like I recommend people check out my Instagram. I've been posting out David Stevens art, and he did like some B covers were a mixture of Rocketeer and Betty Page.
Oh.
It's kind of a weird thing where they have like a Betty Page cover, but it's for the Rocketeer. So you know, it's you know, very sexy kind of great covers. Whenever I post one of those out on my Instagram, like it gets like 200-300 likes. It's just like really, you know, people really like his art. And those covers are quite hard to find. There's the way to find them if you ever want to search for them.
I will be.
Search David Stevens.
Yeah.
And then Jetpack.
Okay.
So Jetpack was the company that produced these variant covers.
Okay.
And you can usually pick them up for about, I'm going to say like in dollars, 20 to 30, maybe $40.
That's okay.
They're in that kind of price range because they're like a very limited print, right? But they're very nice. You'll love them. Check out my Instagram. You'll see what I'm talking about. I haven't gotten them yet.
I'm definitely going to do that. I think that's a really good spec, actually. And I agree with you. I think people are going to wake up to Dave Stevens' art when the Rocketeer gets more attention.
Yeah. So I'm a big fan of Dave Stevens. So I like good girl art anyway. So to find a modern artist that really, you know, did it well is pretty exciting. So I hope I didn't ruin your spec in that, but
you've taken my spec. That was my spec book.
Well, you can show your spec too. So you know,
it's Pacific Comics Presents. And it's got the Rocketeer on the cover. And again, we've got more Steve Ditko down here.
Ditko, yeah. It's
a very peculiar
joint cover.
Yeah, a very peculiar Steve Ditko thing called The Missing Man. But the important thing is this up here, the Rocketeer. This appeared just after Star Slayer 2, and quite a lot of time before the Rocketeer got his own comic. So that's my you can pick this up high grade raw for $20, $15-$20.
Yeah, I would actually recommend, like, this is an extra bonus spec. I would recommend picking up Star Slayer 1, 2, 3 at least, but I would actually pick up the whole run because there's a few other characters that make their first appearance in that run. So just as a FYI.
I just bought on eBay this week Star Slayer 10, which is the first appearance of Grimjack.
Yeah, I have that as well. So yeah, I picked up the whole, like, all the keys from the series. Yeah. But number 3, I think number 2 is his cameo. I'm not sure if it's his cameo for Rocketeer, and number 3 is the full appearance.
No, number 2, I've read it. It's the backup feature.
It's got the full.
Yeah.
Okay, it's a full feature. Okay, so they also say that number 3 is important for the Rocketeer. Just
Yeah.
but I wasn't sure. I haven't read it
This
yet.
one, I think this one is the origin of the Rocketeer.
Oh, okay. So how he gets the jetpack kind of thing,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, I haven't actually read this one. I have read Star Slayer 2, but I haven't read this one.
Okay. So yeah, so that's a great spec though, really great spec because I would have chosen it too.
That's a bit spooky that both of us picked. You picked Dave Stevens as a spec, and I picked one of his comics as a spec. So there we go.
I always like to pick an artist as a spec. I just think that that's a interesting way of thinking. Like it's like a little different. So before we go on to your channel, I want to break your brain. So I have to do my trivia question, right?
Yeah, go for it.
I'm not sure if I've asked you this one before. In a way, I feel like, did I do this one already? I'm like somewhat worried. So like maybe I'm getting old and I'm like, I'm not sure if I remember if I asked this dumb question to you before. So you're going to be like, oh, Alan, you're an idiot. Well, I've already seen this one. But have you seen this one?
No,
okay.
You've not done this one before, no.
Okay, good. I mentioned this on my channel, so that's why.
I haven't seen it though. That's the first time I've seen that one.
So this is John Carter of Mars. This is a sci-fi story.
Yeah,
I always try to make everything relevant. My
Yeah,
specs are relevant. Everything's to the theme. So this is John Carter of Mars. Very famous story. I forgot who the original writer is. Wait.
It was Edgar Rice Burroughs.
Yeah, Burroughs. I was getting there. I was mentally going through all the sci-fi writers. So yeah, just a very famous comic.
Yeah.
This is number 4 color 375, and this is not John Carter's first appearance, but it is another character's first appearance. And which character would that be?
And it's Dell, isn't it? It's not Marvel or DC. So
yeah, it's Dell 4 color.
I think you're gonna stump me on this one. The only
do you know the series? Do you know? Okay, so then that's gonna make it almost impossible. But you might know the character once I show it. I think you will.
And I don't think it is this because I don't. It is John Johns, the Martian Manhunter.
Different, yeah, no, yeah, different universe.
Yeah.
Different universe. Okay.
No,
try to think of me. I'm like a bit of I like sexy girls. Okay. This girl's a sexy girl that's in this.
Okay.
Makes it a lot easier, I think.
So it's a woman and she's sexy and it's science fiction.
Yeah.
Has she appeared on screen ever?
Yeah. In the movie, in the John Carter Mars movie.
Oh, in the John Carter Mars. I don't know.
So if you watched the movie, you would have known. Yeah.
I haven't watched the movie either. Yeah, no, you've completely baffled me.
Okay, so I'll show you. Wait, where did I put her cover? One sec here.
I'm going to be annoyed if I do know her.
You'll know her. You should. Actually, this is not a great. I should bring a different one, but this is the cover. Deja Thoris.
No, I've never heard of her.
Really? She normally has like the spirally kind of bra thing going on.
Okay.
But this is a good one. So yeah, Deja Thoris. I have a bunch of these. These are from Dynamite.
I've got a hole in my comics knowledge where John Carter exists.
Really great character, like kind of sexy, a bit, strong-willed, she does her own thing.
Oh, she does her own thing. Okay, so she's not just a sort of
damsel in distress. Yeah. No, she's
a Red Sonja type.
Not quite Red Sonja level, but she is kind of a little bit badass. She's kind of cool. Okay. I really like this character. So
okay, well, you got me on that. You definitely got me on that one.
Okay, so that is it for this half of this episode. We're going to go on to Mark's channel and finish part 2, where we're going to show some more specs, some more hot comics, more cool stuff. in the sci-fi thing. So I'm going to link Mark's channel in my description and in the end credits somewhere on the screen. I don't know where it goes, but so it's going to be there as well. And you're going to see it today. So lots of stuff to see. So I hope you enjoyed first part. Thanks, Mark, for coming on my channel.
The pleasure, Alan, as always.
Okay, and we'll go into part 2. Yay!
Yay!